am here this evening to talk to you about a few techniques that I use to create the Stamp of the Month cards for June. So, funny story. When I had a group over on Sunday, this past Sunday, and gave away my stamp set. The lady had forgot to order it and she wanted one. And so I, without even thinking, I just let her have it that day. So I do not have that stamp set. Yeah, you're probably not surprised, but anyways, so, okay, just hang on here. I'm going to just get my chat set up. So this is live on Facebook on my page. It's also live on YouTube. So do not fret about this because I found another stamp set that I believe will work for my purposes this evening. And I'm going to go ahead and talk about these cards anyways. And I have the supply list in front of me. I'm not sure why, but anyways. But before I do all of that, I just got this paper in today. I'm so excited. Okay, we only need one pack. I bought more. Oh man, I think you're going to love this. And I think you'll probably be seeing this paper very, very soon in some projects on my page. Okay, first of all, I know I don't usually do it in this order, but you just have to see the colors that are in the coordinating cardstock pack. This bundle comes with the three things. All right, these are the three products that are available, as well as the paper pack without the sticker sheet. Okay, and so you get, I think it's a 20% discount if you buy the product bundle, and that it's regular $63, I believe, and it's on sale for $20. And so that's a pretty good buy. I just want to double check my numbers here. Just hang on 1 second here. The paper pack is a bigger pack than usual, so it is $21.75 with the sticker sheet. And it is, sorry, just looking for, oh, $15 without the sticker sheet. And the product bundle, yes, $63.25 regular. The discounted price is $50. Okay, so look at these colors. Oh my gosh. So this is the Nectarine, and remember, Close to My Heart's cardstock is all double-sided. The dark side you get is the true color, and then the other side is a shade lighter. So you have so many options with this cardstock. Okay, and then we have, okay, what color is this? That's kind of weird because I don't recognize that color. Just hang on a second here. It's sage. I don't know, that didn't seem like sage to me, but that's okay. And we've got some sapphire. Look at these colors together. Oh my gosh, then we've got some lemonade. So bright, so cheerful. And then some melon. Just to throw into the mix. I love it, I love it, I love it. Just look at that. Is that not gorgeous? Okay, I just want to spread this out a little bit more so you can see this color goodness. Oh yeah, gives me goosebumps. All right. I know I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to paper. Is there such a thing as a paper nerd? I'm not sure if there is. Okay, now let's dive into this paper pack. I will leave a link for you. In Facebook, it'll be in the comments below the video. In YouTube, it will be in the description. Okay, here is our first look at the sticker sheet. So pretty. What beautiful colors. Now there's no special treatment on any of these stickers, like there's no foiling, there's no UV coating or anything like that, but these really stand on their own. They're just gorgeous. Look at the house. So cute. Okay, so to go with the houses, we've got some very cute stamps, and then we've got trees. Oh, wait a minute, that's not a tree. That is sort of a bunch of flowers. I'm just going to take this out of the pack. I feel like I'm talking to myself tonight. That's better. Okay, and look at this beautiful butterfly. Gorgeous, just gorgeous. And some really cool fonts here. We've got so much, and then fun, sending you a big hug, our story, this moment, and love. And up here we've got have a beautiful birthday. Then we've got a stitched heart happening over here, and we've got a little teeny heart over here. And what a great generic stamp set. I'm so excited to use this. Okay, so we've got one thing left, and that is to look at the paper. Okay, so this is, you're looking at it for the first time with me. I have not opened this pack until this very moment. All right, so we've got some stripes. Oh, just yummy. And look at that zip strip. Let's see, that's polka dots. I thought for a minute maybe it was stars, but it's not. Okay, so we'll just move that out of the way. We'll put this right here. And here is the next one. So pretty. And you notice how the designs are very small on these papers and very generic. There's only a couple of papers in here that have any theme to them at all. So this paper is going to be so useful for so many things. And one of the things that struck me when I was looking in the flyer at it was that how similar it was to our mix-in packs, just bigger. It's beautiful, beautiful zip strip. Love these colors. Oh my goodness. All right, that's that one. Okay, so this is one of the ones that has some sort of recognizable theme or pattern, and it's just little tiny flowers. And then look at this side. So beautiful. Wow. And then we've got some more in the zip strip. I'm loving this. I can see what tomorrow's going to be bringing. Okay. And, okay, so now here we've got some scallops that are very generic, but lots of fun. And then this one, what's this one? Also generic. It's just a cubed pattern with different shapes. I see some triangles, some zigzags, some lines. Yeah, so very pretty. I hope that comes across. Okay, so that's that one. And next is our sage outing. Ooh, now this is amazing. I thought, oh, what's showing through on this? But nothing. Can you see that color variation there? So it's sage, but then it's got a peach sort of just wandering through. You can just sort of see just a little faint bit of peach showing through. Oh my gosh. I've never seen the paper like that. That is just so cool. Okay, and then we've got some wavy lines. And we've got a yellow checkerboard. And let's see, we're getting near the end here. I think we've got one more. Okay, so this is what I would call our hero paper. And you can see, first of all, we've got houses with trees, which goes very well with the stamp set. And then we've got some bigger flowers. So, my goodness, like I can just see so many great projects coming up with this. And it's available until August 31st, of course, while supplies last. Okay, that's it. Just going to move all this out of the way. Oh, hi, Jennifer. Thanks for popping in. Okay, so Linda got all these cards organized for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk about a few things here. Now, you may want to get a pen or a pencil and some paper to write down some notes here that I'm going to talk about. So the first thing is these large images. All right, so when you are stamping an image that has this much ink real estate, that's a lot, okay, and this is cut off at the bottom. So you want to be very careful about how you approach the stamping process. The first thing that I want you to always remember to do is to season your stamps. And even if they are already used, every time you're going to use a stamp that has a lot of ink coverage, you want to season it. Okay, so I'm going to do that on the inside of my arm here. Some ladies like to do it on the back of their hand, some on the front of their hand even. So it's just up to you. The only thing I would caution is to not use your pants. Like some ladies like to rub it on their pants, but then you run the risk of getting little fibers from your clothing onto the surface. So your skin is better. You can also use something like this, which is my adhesive eraser, but it takes a lot longer to do it with that. All right, the next thing I want to talk to you about is ink. So now this is particularly if you're going to be using black. All right, you need an ink that is really dark and is really juicy. So I would suggest some sort of a pigment ink for that. Regular black dye ink and intense black and archival black, they're great for what their purpose is. But for something like this to really, really be effective, you need to go more along the lines of something like this, which is the VersaFine Onyx Black. And this is a pigment ink for fine details. So this is my go-to black when I'm trying to stamp an image that's similar to that. The next thing is that you really need to make sure that you've got this inked up and nice and juicy at all times, because you want to have it at the ready whenever you're going to stamp something like this. And when you're re-inking your pads, you should always leave them in this direction. So you don't want to turn them upside down, which doesn't, it's not complicated with this one. But with these types of ink pads, when you close them up, okay, the ink pad ends up upside down, which is what you want, but not when it is being re-inked. So you want to leave them for about 20 minutes, and you want to leave them sitting in this direction. All right, it's just, the ink just settles more evenly if you have it sitting upright rather than hanging down. I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to leave me a comment, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Hello, Arlene. Okay, so my next thing is, now you could stamp on a block with this, but I would highly suggest using a stamp positioner. All right, either way, you want to make sure you're using some sponge. All right, so I've got my little sponge here. Okay, and because this is a big image, I'm going to apply the ink to the stamp rather than having the ink on the table and then tapping the stamp onto it. Arlene, you joined in just a little bit late, and you may notice I'm not using the same stamp. It's because I gave it away on Sunday. I wasn't even thinking. So I decided to go ahead with this, and I'm just using another stamp that has a lot of real estate. Okay, so straight down, all right, and I'm just going to stand up. Hi, Val. And I'm going to apply pressure on this. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you know I always say don't rush. All right, you need to give this time. You want to make sure that all your ink has transferred onto the paper. Okay, now I'm sensing that there might be some problem right there and right there, but we'll see what happens. I'm just going to show you what I mean as soon as I pull this off. Oh, okay, well, it didn't come to pass. I was afraid. I don't hope that the camera picks that up, but you can see where those air bubbles are. All right, I didn't even check for that. However, I got lucky. So, I'm just going to clean my stamp off here. And I'm going to show you how to deal with those air bubbles. Now, this works for any size or shape of stamps that you have that may be prone to air bubbles. All right, so, and you would want to do this on your stamp positioner or block. It doesn't matter, you get air bubbles either way. Okay, so I'm going to start this on one end. Okay, I've got it firmly down here. And then I'm going to roll it. And I'm just pushing just a little bit as I'm rolling it out. Okay, and I just take my time. Okay, it's still got air bubbles. I'm going to try one more time. I'll go this way. I'm live now. My phone just said that. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm not sure why it's still showing that there's air bubbles, but I'm very confident now, having rolled that on, that I'm going to get a really nice image. So I'm going to stamp that one more time just to see. When you're using a stamp positioner with a big stamp like this, often it's helpful to actually put your foam into the machine before you put your paper down, just as a bit more cushion. Okay, it's down. Give it lots of time. Don't like to rush this process. Now, when you're dealing with a stamp like this one that's longer, okay, it's going to take you quite a while to get your hand right across. So you can even go with something, oops, where did it go? There it is. Like this. All right, there's lots of different ones out there, but it just helps you to cover a bigger surface while you're pressing down. Okay, let's see how this went. Nice. Okay. So you can see how having a great ink really helps here. All right, so you've got lots of really good coverage. Now the places that you can see the white, it's actually meant to be that way. So it's not like this one where it's complete black coverage. Okay, now one thing that I do want to mention is if you, in spite of all your cautions, when you stamp, you end up with a little white spot somewhere, this is how you fix it. You grab your black journaling pen. All right, don't use a great big black pen because you'll make a mess. But you just grab your pen, make sure that it's flowing nicely. And then, let's see, I had one spot here, right here. So let me come in even a little closer. Okay, there's a spot right there I missed. All right, so I'm just going to very gently just color that in. Okay, so you can see, spot is gone. So it's so easy to fix black. It's a little more complicated when you're using color to get it matched, but black is way easier. Okay, so that is talking about black. I'm going to put this over to the side. Okay, and I used my white. So I'm going to get another one out. All right, so for this next part, you're going to need some sort of surface that you can do some ink blending on. So I'm going to be using my silicone blending mat. You can also use your all-purpose mat, your non-stick all-purpose mat. You're going to need, I'm going to be using for this one, my Evergreen Bow Distress Oxide inks. And I also need a brush. Okay, so I'm going to use a small brush for this job. And I'm using the square stencil that came in the Dream Maker product bundle. Let's grab a piece of cardstock here. Now for a technique like this, I don't worry about taping anything down. You can see that the coverage is not even, and some places it's even missing. Okay, so the whole idea here is to make it very casual, all right? So I'm going to, let's see, I'm just trying to decide. No, I think I'm actually going to do it right on top of this, just so you can see. Now I've got my grid just at a bit of an angle here. And remember, when you're using your Distress Oxides, I'm just going to pull that back a wee bit, to go back and forth, tap off a little bit. Okay, now you want a very gentle hand with this. All right, so you want to just touch it here and there. Some places can be a little bit more if you want. Okay, I'm going to give it a little bit more down here. But you want to keep it, okay, organic. That's the only word I can think of. All right, so it's not a complete coverage, and the color varies. So right here I've done it quite hard, or like lots of pressure with lots of ink. Here it's also quite dark, but then over here you can see it's a lot lighter. Here it's sort of in the middle. Here it's lighter again. All right, so you will want to do that on your paper before you stamp. All right, I sort of went backwards with this one because I wanted to talk about the black ink. But do this step first and then do your stamping after that. All right, so that's that one. Clear as mud. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about with this card in particular is how I inked the squares. So you can see around the outside edge. I've inked each of the squares. This is a direct to paper approach. All right, and for this I'm going to use my regular dye ink. All right, and this works for any type of color, but I would highly recommend a dye ink so that it dries faster. All right, so what you're going to do is hold your paper in your hand, and you're going to angle your ink pad so that it's just slightly towards what you're going to be inking. Okay, and then you're just going to rub it back and forth. So kind of like playing the violin. It's as easy as that. So I really like this technique because you get that frame, but it's nice and neat and tidy. All right, so it's very easy to use. It doesn't cover up a lot of the cardstock on the surface. It just stays where it belongs, around the outside edge. Just remember that it does take a couple seconds to dry, especially black. I usually end up covered in black by the time I'm done. Only happens with black. I don't know why. All right, so the last thing I want to tell you about this is that you're going to stamp this on a larger piece of white daisy cardstock. So you want it to be, let's see, it's going to be 2¼ inches, I believe, or maybe 2½. 2.5 by 5 3/4. I did put that measurement into your supply list. All right, and then you're going to do your blending, your ink blending over the surface of the whole thing. And just remember, you want it organic. Okay, you don't want it to be nice and even like in some projects. Once you've got that done, and you've given the ink a little bit of time to dry, or you can hurry it up with your heat tool. All right, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to stamp this image. Remember, you're going to use your VersaFine black or some other black, at least partly pigment ink. And you want it to be a nice, deep black. Give it lots of time. Make sure you are seasoning the stamp every single time before you use it. All right, you want to make sure that there is no glossiness or any spots on there at all that is going to resist holding the ink properly. You want it to be a nice, even surface. Watch for bubbles. All right, and I showed you the rolling technique to get your stamp onto the block. You can use a positioner, or not a positioner, what am I saying? A pressing tool if you would like. Then when you've got this stamped, after you've given it a few minutes to dry, all right, you want to, starting at the top, measure down 2 inches and then cut the bottom off. There's just too much stamp there for this card. All right. And then I started on the left side, I believe. I hope I'm telling you the right thing because I don't have the stamp here. But I cut at 1.5 inches, and then I cut another 1.5 inches, and then I cut another 1.5. And you're going to have a little bit left on this side. All right. Once I have all the pieces cut, then I do my direct-to-paper inking around the outside edge. I popped these up with the thin foam dots. And that's it. It's actually pretty easy. There's not very many steps to this card. Sorry, not stamp. So long as you remember all of the tips and tricks for stamping with the black. That's the most important thing. Okay, that is that card. What is next? Okay, oh, this one's so pretty. Okay, there really is nothing else for me to tell you other than what I've talked about. Now with this one, I didn't use black, I used my charcoal. All right, I wanted a little bit softer finish on here, and I stamped directly on my patterned paper. This is the coordinating cardstock for the Dreammaker. This is the Periwinkle, and I stamped right on the pattern. All right, so I placed it on some sort of safe surface that doesn't matter if you get it inked up around here. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to make you dizzy. And then I went ahead and, okay, I've lost my stamp. Okay, and I just took the part I wanted. Oops, that's not good. I didn't do my tappy, tappy, tappy. Do as I say, not as I do, right? Okay, so this is a landscape card, and I think they might all be. Oh, one's a square card, and that's because of the size of the stamp that I used. Okay, so I just took what I wanted. Where's my... Sorry, I just lost track of where my foam is. I need my foam. Okay, never mind. I got lots more where that came from. If you missed the beginning, you have to go back and look, definitely, because I showed everybody the new Making Memories paper pack. I just got it. Okay, so I just took what I wanted from this. So I hung it over the edge here, and I hung it over the edge here. And then I just stamped down, and again, you want to give it lots of time. And this particular stamp, All of these are leaning in one direction, so it's not that I stamped it crookedly. That's actually stamped straight across the bottom. I just didn't use the bottom portion of it, and then a little bit on the side. And then I stamped, sometimes there are no words from the same stamp set, also using charcoal. So this one, even quicker. All right, so you can see what a beautiful effect that gray is on the periwinkle. I love it. Okay, that's that one. That one was simple. Simple, simple. Just clean this off. All right, moving on. Just grabbing my supplies. Okay, for this one I'm using Desert Rose ink and Melon. I'm also using 2 of my gold paint markers. I'm using the 0.7 millimeter, the very fine one. And I'm also using the 3 millimeter, which is the rounded tip. Okay, don't need this right now. This is the card. All right, and I'm using dye inks for this background rather than Distress Oxide this time. All right, it just isn't a different finish to use it. And for what I wanted, for my purposes, the dye inks just worked better. With the Distress Oxide inks, you get a much thicker, more opaque finish than you do with the dye inks, and I wanted it to be a little bit translucent. So I really like the effect. It's beautiful. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about this again because it's exactly the same as this one. All right, all the stamping that I talked about on this one applies to this one as well. Okay, what I want to talk about is that ink blending. So I'm just going to clean this off. All right, I think I'm going to turn it this way. And, sorry, my blending brushes are way far away. Okay, so I want this one. So for this one, I'm going to use a bit larger blending brush. And I'm just going to check to make sure it's clean. And I'm starting with my Melon. Get that out of the way. All right. Now I want to leave the bottom probably 3/4 of an inch unblended. And some will sneak down there part way, but I'm going to try and keep 3/4 of an inch or so without any ink on it. Okay, so one thing about the lives is I can't speed up the camera. So you're gonna have to watch me blend. Dye inks always take a little bit longer. Hi, Carolyn and Linda. Cool. Dye inks always take a little bit longer to do this technique with because the ink is very thin, dries very quickly, is translucent rather than opaque. So for all the reasons that I like it for this technique, also can make it a little bit awkward when you're actually doing the blending. Okay, so I'm just going to watch now how far I'm going down here. Okay, getting ink on the brush again. Okay, watching 3/4 of an inch or so. Okay, and I'm not adding any new ink down here because I want this to be lighter. So you can see on the original how there is a little bit of ink right there, but it's quite light. Okay, I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to grab my Desert Rose. And I don't need to clean the brush because the colors are very similar. And the one I was using before was lighter. Okay, so now I want to very lightly, and I mean lightly, and I'm not being very careful along the edge here, I know that. I'm trying to hurry so that I don't keep you for too long. Okay, now one of the things that I really like about using the dye inks for this is you don't get perfectly even coverage. It's impossible because the ink dries too fast. But that's exactly what I was looking for. I wanted that variation in color throughout here. I just wanted it a bit darker at the top. Okay. So just very lightly, I'm hardly pushing on the brush at all, and I'm not going all the way down. Okay, I'm keeping it up at the top, and I'm just going down to about there. What am I doing here? Okay. So pretty. So pretty. Okay, so now I'm just going to press a little harder, but not put any more ink on. Because there's always lots of ink in these brushes. You just have to know where to find it. Another thing that I find really cool with techniques like this is that no two are ever alike. All right, so pretty. Okay, so once you've got this all done, you're happy with it, you can go ahead and do your stamping, and then you're going to use the gold metallic markers. Just hang on a second, I want to clean this up because I'm going to get it all over myself here. We've had terrible thunder here all afternoon. No rain yet, but I'm sure it's going to at some point. Okay, so now grabbing these, I'm going to start with my bigger one, the 3mm, which is the rounded tip. Okay, oh, this is the new one. Oh boy. Okay, so you want to give this a really good shake. Even after you've started it, every time you pick it up, if it's been sitting for a while, you want to make sure that paint is very well mixed. Okay, and to start it, I'm just going to come in here nice and close so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just pressing on the nib down onto my blending mat. Okay, and you want, it's going to blob out. I don't know how to not make that happen. But you just have to keep, okay, here it comes. I can see it. See it starting to come down. Sorry about the camera there. It doesn't keep up with me when I'm on hyperspeed. Okay, oh, maybe I'm going to get it out and working without blobbing it. Okay, I'm happy. All right, there we go. It's ready to go. Excellent. And I didn't waste too much paint. Gotta love that. Okay, so what I'm doing now is adding my embellishments. You can see them spread across where I just did all of the ink blending. This is totally random. And I started with this one. Okay, and make sure you practice on a piece of scratch paper so you can see how hard you need to touch the paper to get the effect that you want. All right. Okay, so here we go. And remember, this is random. Okay, and I'm going to touch just a little harder in a couple places because I want some bigger stars. And then I'm going to be very gentle again to get some nice little ones going. Okay, and that's it for that marker. Now this, how much you put on here is entirely up to you. Okay, oh, this one looks, whoa, that's not good. Oh my gosh. Okay, tweezers. I have to do surgery here. I don't know what happened. Okay, which end goes in? I think it's that one. No, maybe not. Okay, I'm not quite sure why that, oh, now I'm covered in paint. See, happens to me every time. Okay, where's my scrap paper? Okay, all right. I don't know what happened there. That's just kind of weird. Now, one thing to really keep in mind is that this paint takes a little bit of time to dry. So you want to not touch it. Give it probably 5 or 10 minutes. Okay, and I want just some little teeny tiny ones in and around here. Okay. So I have a nice little mess up in that corner from the nib falling, but anyways, I'm kind of happy with that. It's very pretty. Okay, so then I stamped "You Are So Thoughtful," and I used a different stamp set. I used "Always Near." It's D2158. I just really like the script of it. So that's that card. All right, if you have any questions about how to, see it's blobbing right out. So that one I'm going to have to hold it this way, I guess, because it's obviously got a problem. Okay. Sorry, I'm just gonna, oh dear. Paint, right? Okay, I think it's enough that I'm not gonna make a further mess with it. Okay, one last card to go. And I'm racing through because my time is already up here. Okay, so basically for this card, okay, I used a sponge dauber around the outside edge, and I used a piece of fun foam. All right, so this is, you can get this at Michael's dollar store, like pretty much any craft place. And it works just like paper, except it's a bit thicker. So you can use your tape runner adhesive or score tape. To tell you the truth, I am not certain how it will react to a liquid glue, but I'm thinking that it's probably not going to be the greatest, kind of like glitter paper. But I cut it to the size of my paper front. This one I used was a pink one. And then I attached my card base after I'd stamped onto this, and then I just trimmed with my scissors. So I sort of gradually going in. I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, so I've got this all lined up. Okay, these are at the same point now. Okay, so I took my scissors and I angled, mitered. That's what I was trying to think of. Okay, I just put my scissors at an angle and then I cut it in so that where it's attached to the paper comes almost all the way out to the edge, but where it's going to attach to the card base is in a little further. Okay, I hope it's clear as mud, I'm sure. Okay, if you need me to explain that again, please just ask, because that's probably not that clear. Okay. All right, so for the actual stamping, all right, your piece of paper is, whoops, oh geez. I have magnets everywhere for the Cape Cod album, is 4.5 inches square. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to take your ruler and your pencil. Okay, and I want you to mark, give yourself a mark. Oh, just a second here. Okay, this is a little bit smaller than you will need. Okay, so you're going to use a piece 4.5 inches square, and I'm using a piece that's 4.25. So you want to just give yourself a mark, making sure your ruler is straight on the paper. That's half. So half of mine is right here, 2 1/8. Half of yours will be 2 1/4. All right, and then I'm going to turn it again. And I'm going to do the same thing. And then again. Oh my gosh, I don't like doing it on this. Oh, much better. Okay, and then I'm going to do another mark right here. So you get the idea, right? Okay, so I have got my 4 marks here now, and so I'm just going to line them up. It's hard to do this without getting my head in the camera. You really don't want to see my bald spot. So, we're not sure exactly how even that'll be, but we'll see. Oh, that one's definitely not right. Okay, you see, that's what I get when I'm rushing. No, that one looks good. I just hate to keep you guys too long. That looks right. But that doesn't look right. Okay, well, I'm just going to go in the middle. All right, so what you're looking for is this spot right here. You want the middle. Whoops. Okay, and so what I did was I started with my lightest color, which was the ballerina. All right, and I stamped 4 times using this one stem. It's the same stem all the way around in all of the colors. Okay, and I stamped it here and here and here and here. All right, and you will overlap in here because this image is a little bit longer than right to the middle point, but it doesn't matter because you have this scalloped circle that is going to cover all of that up. All right, so if I took this off, you would see in here like a mess. It's, yeah, there's colors and stems and everything poking everywhere. Okay, so then I cleaned off the stamp. I took my next darkest color, which is the periwinkle, and this time I aimed it right in sort of like, not in the middle. I was going to say in the middle, but almost in the middle, but not quite. So I would say right here. Okay, and that would be the center mark. You can see that. Okay, so then I stamped here, and then I turned it, and I did the same thing in the same position here. Turned it again, same position here, and then finally there. Okay, so now this center part is looking pretty awful, but that's okay because nobody's going to see that. So clean your stamp off again, and then you're going to take your sapphire ink, and you're going to do it one last time, and this time you're going to go, start where I was, right here. So you're not stamping in the middle. You're stamping on either side of the middle. So here's the middle right here. So you're going to stamp your periwinkle there, and then you're going to stamp your sapphire here. Then just turn your paper, sapphire again, turn your paper, sapphire again, turn your paper, sapphire one more time right there. So once you've got all that done, then the rest is easy peasy. You're just going to grab your sapphire. You're going to grab a sponge, or like a sponge like this, or one of your sponge daubers, or your mini blending tool, and you're just going to lightly sponge your sapphire around the outside edge. And then you're going to attach your foam to the back of that, and you're going to attach the whole thing to your card base, which is a 6-inch square, I believe. No, not, that's right. That's wrong. 5 inches square. And then you're going to attach your scalloped circle. And did I write down the size of that? 1 scalloped circle cut from sapphire cardstock, 2 5/8. All right. And then you're going to stamp your thanks so much or whatever other sentiment you want onto your circle that you've pre-cut. It's in the supply list. And you are also going to ink around the outside edge of that, and you're just going to attach it in the center. Easy peasy. I did not do any popping up of this one. It's all straight onto the cardstock. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. I apologize I didn't have the stamp for you. I can't believe, well, yeah, I guess I can believe it, but I did it. So it's done. I'm moving on, right? Okay, so I just wanted to talk to you very quickly before you go about next month, which will be, I've got the stamp set right here, which is the Bee's Knees. Okay, kind of cool. I've seen a lot of ladies look at it and say, not sure I like it. But I promise you, once you see the 4 cards for this stamp set, you will like it. I promise. Okay, so it's going to be, just let me grab my planner. It will be on the first Thursday of August, I think, I hope, which is the 10th. Oh, wait a minute. It's not going to be on the first one this time because I'm going to be away in Golden. It's going to be on the second Thursday, which is August 10th. Same time, same place. All right, if you have any questions, don't forget, please leave them for me in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks so much for your patience without having a stamp set here. And I hope that you will join me on August 10th. We'll be talking to you very, very soon.